The making of a gangster. Lawrence Bishnoi's early life. Lawrence Bishnoi, a name synonymous with fear and notoriety in North India, was not born into a life of crime. Hailing from a village in Haryana, his early life was seemingly ordinary. He was a student at Dav College in Chandigarh, pursuing a degree in law. This seemingly normal upbringing, however, masked the seeds of ambition and ruthlessness that would later define his life. Bishnoi's transformation from an average student to a hardened criminal remains a subject of much speculation. Some attribute it to the influence of his family's alleged involvement in criminal activities, while others point to the increasing lawlessness and corruption that plagued his home state of Haryana. Whatever the cause, Bishnoi's descent into the criminal underworld began during his college years, marking the beginning of a reign of terror that would span over a decade. Growing up, Lawrence was known to be a quiet and reserved child, often seen playing with his friends in the dusty lanes of his village. His teachers described him as an average student, neither excelling nor falling behind, blending into the background of the classroom. His family, though not wealthy, was respected in the community, and they had high hopes for Lawrence's future. It was during his college years that the first signs of his darker side began to emerge. He started associating with a group of students who were involved in petty crimes and campus politics. The competitive and often violent nature of college politics in Chandigarh provided a fertile ground for his burgeoning ambitions. Lawrence began to train in martial arts, honing his physical prowess and learning the art of intimidation. Despite his growing involvement in criminal activities, he continued to maintain a facade of normalcy, attending classes and studying late into the night. His hostel room became a hub for late-night discussions, where plans were hatched and alliances were formed. It was in these shadowy corners of the campus that Lawrence's transformation from a student to a gangster began to take shape. The local police, already stretched thin by the rising crime rates, were often unable to keep up with the growing influence of Lawrence and his associates. His knowledge of the law, gained from his studies, gave him an edge in navigating the legal system, allowing him to evade capture and prosecution for a long time. But as his criminal activities escalated, so did the efforts of law enforcement to bring him to justice. Raids and arrests became a common occurrence, yet Lawrence always seemed to be one step ahead. His eventual arrest marked the end of an era, but his legacy of fear and violence continues to haunt the region to this day. Today, Lawrence Bishnoi remains a figure of infamy, his name a reminder of the thin line between law and lawlessness. And as life goes on in the villages of Haryana, the story of Lawrence Bishnoi serves as a cautionary tale of how easily one can be led astray. Seeds of power. Student politics and the genesis of a criminal. The journey from a seemingly innocent student leader to a feared criminal is often paved with ambition, power struggles, and a thirst for control. The world of student politics, often a breeding ground for ambition and power struggles, serves as a microcosm of larger political arenas. Here, young minds are shaped, alliances are formed, and the seeds of future leaders are sown. For Bishnoi, this environment became his first taste of influence and control. He quickly realized the power that came with being a student leader, the ability to sway opinions, and the thrill of commanding a crowd. He joined the student wing of a prominent political party, immersing himself in the dynamics of political maneuvering. This platform provided him with the perfect opportunity to assert his dominance and build a network of loyal followers. What started as student politics, however, quickly escalated into something more sinister. The competitive nature of student elections and the desire to maintain power led Bishnoi down a darker path. Bishnoi's hunger for power grew, as did his willingness to use intimidation and violence to achieve his goals. He began to see these tactics as necessary tools to maintain his position and expand his influence. He began by intimidating rival student groups, disrupting elections, and engaging in petty extortion. These actions, though minor at first, were a clear indication of his growing ambition and the lengths he was willing to go to secure his power. His audacity and ruthlessness quickly gained him notoriety within the college and caught the attention of established gangsters. They saw in him a potential recruit, someone who could be molded and used for their own purposes. These gangsters, always on the lookout for ambitious and ruthless individuals, saw in Bishnoi a kindred spirit. They approached him, offering him a chance to expand his influence beyond the college campus and into the criminal underworld. Bishnoi, driven by his insatiable hunger for power, accepted their offer, setting him on a path that would ultimately lead to his transformation from a student leader to a feared criminal. Reign of terror, extortion, violence, and the rise of Bishnoi's gang. This is a story that has gripped the region in fear and uncertainty, a tale of power, greed, and ruthless ambition. Bishnoi's foray into the criminal underworld began with extortion, targeting wealthy businessmen and traders in his area. These were individuals who had worked hard to build their businesses, only to find themselves at the mercy of a gang that demanded a cut of their profits. Bishnoi's methods were simple yet effective. Pay up or face the consequences. He quickly established a reputation for brutality, meting out swift and violent retribution to those who refused to comply with his demands. Bishnoi's gang was not just about making money, it was about sending a message that defiance would not be tolerated. His gang, composed primarily of young men from his village and college, grew in size and influence, operating with impunity and instilling fear in the hearts of locals. These young men, many of whom had limited opportunities, found a sense of belonging and purpose in Bishnoi's gang. They were loyal, ruthless, and willing to do whatever it took to maintain their grip on power. As his grip on the region tightened, so did Bishnoi's ambition. He was no longer content with just extortion. He wanted more. He began to see himself as a kingpin, a ruler of the underworld. His plans became more elaborate, his operations more sophisticated. He began to orchestrate larger criminal operations, including land grabbing, kidnapping for ransom, and contract killings. These were not just random acts of violence, they were carefully planned and executed operations designed to expand his empire and eliminate his rivals. His gang's notoriety spread beyond the confines of his hometown, attracting the attention of law enforcement agencies. The police were now on high alert, determined to bring Bishnoi and his gang to justice. Raids were planned, operations were launched, but Bishnoi always seemed to be one step ahead. Bishnoi, however, remained elusive, using his political connections and a network of informants to stay one step ahead of the authorities. He had friends in high places, people who were willing to turn a blind eye in exchange for a share of the spoils. This network of corruption made it difficult for law enforcement to pin him down. Bishnoi's story is a stark reminder of the lengths to which some will go to achieve power and control, and the devastating impact it can have on a community. A world of shadows, alliances, rivalries, and the gangster network. The world of organized crime is a complex web of alliances and rivalries, and Lawrence Bishnoi navigated this treacherous landscape with cunning and ruthlessness. He forged alliances with other powerful gangsters, expanding his reach and influence across state lines. These alliances, however, were often short-lived, driven by self-preservation and a constant struggle for power. Bishnoi's rise to prominence inevitably led to clashes with rival gangs vying for control of lucrative criminal enterprises. These rivalries often resulted in bloody gang wars, leaving a trail of bodies and terror in their wake. Despite facing constant threats from his enemies, Bishnoi remained a formidable force, known for his strategic thinking and his ability to evade capture. The long arm of the law, crackdowns, arrests, and life behind bars. Bishnoi's reign of terror, though seemingly unstoppable, was not without its challenges. The increasing pressure from law enforcement agencies, coupled with his growing list of enemies, made it difficult for him to operate with the same impunity as before. In 2017, after evading arrest for years, Bishnoi was finally apprehended by the Haryana police. His arrest, however, did little to dampen his influence. Even from behind bars, Bishnoi continued to run his criminal empire, issuing orders to his lieutenants and orchestrating crimes through smuggled mobile phones. His ability to maintain control, even from within the confines of prison, is a testament to the reach and power of his criminal network, and a stark reminder of the challenges faced by law enforcement agencies in their fight against organized crime.